Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some more RT News updates. And as you can tell from today's title, we're going to be talking about Venezuela once again, with some recent news that's just come out in regards to the issuing of what will be considered the highest denominational note issue this year due to the hyperinflation that's happening in Venezuela with, as you see over my shoulder here, President Maduro holding up a note, and it's a 100,000 Bolivar note, or as it says there, 100,000 Bolivares. And so as of now, that is the largest note in that country. And it wasn't long ago, as of actually last year, at the same time, I was talking about some issues in Venezuela and how they were moving beyond what was considered at that time to be the largest note, which is what I'm holding up here, which is just a 100 Bolivar note. And so prior to this year, all there was 150, 25, 1, the typical denominations for currencies that are in a more stable environment. But since the hyperinflation has taken off, they've added 500, 1,000, 2,000. And as of now, they're going to implement a 100,000 Bolivar note, which basically says that the currency is worth nothing. As it says in this article, I'm going to show you approximately $2 or so on the black market. So as always, there's more news coming out of Venezuela. Unfortunately, it's going to be bad news for the people who are the ones dependent upon these pieces of paper here. But that's more to dive into from these articles. And as always, if you're new to RTD, I want to encourage you to click the subscribe button for more RT News updates, as well as interviews, as well as if you're new to Rethinking the Dollar, as well as the Bolivar. I want to encourage you to visit the RTD University site, where I cover all my past interviews with author economists, as well as commentators, dealing with issues such as this when government and monetary policy collide to create hyperinflation, which is the reason why these worthless pieces of papers come back to haunt the public at the end of the day. So without further ado, let's dive into today's news. So today I have two articles I want to share with you, all in regards to the same subject matter of this new issuing of denominational note of 100 Bolivar, and just give you a little bit of different spin from each and every one of them. Then also wrap it up with giving you an idea of what would have been a great alternative for the people had they known and been aware of their monetary options throughout the last couple of years or decades for the most part. And so also just to, tie this into where we're at now with our current monetary system here. Venezuela is a good example of when a country gets so indebted and so dependent upon borrowing money that they themselves become trapped by their own policies. And then they begin using the option of just printing money, as well as adding just zeros to their currency to try to keep pace with hyperinflation. And so this policy here is implemented, and it's going to be promoted as something that will help stabilize the economy. But yet, as time has shown, that the more zeros you add to the currency, the more confidence is lost in that piece of paper. Just because the more zeros are added doesn't mean that it purchases more. And so is this going to turn out to be a very sad scenario for the people of Venezuela? But then one of the articles actually hints on what the ultimate goal will be when they get tired of adding zeros to their currency. As they're going to point out in the article here, they're going to remove currency or fiat currency paper altogether and just probably go to digits solely. So I want to dive into today's articles. And so the very first one here is from South China Morning Post, and it says, big note, small change. Venezuela knew 100,000 Bolivar note was only worth 250 amid hyperinflation. And then the next one here is from DW, and it says, Venezuela introduces a 100 Bolivar bill worth $2. And so, as I mentioned, it has, $100, and it's the same exact, Simon Bolivar there, patriarch there, one of their founders there. But yeah, instead of just being 100, it says 100,000 Bolivares. So basically 100,000 Bolivars there. And then I'll also share with you, just when I typed in Bolivar in eBay, what popped up as far as a lot of silver coins and the value that those coins have held over time, to where they were once, as it says here, this is a quarter Bolivar gram, but it's going for about $15 plus right now. So just having some of these small little increments of their history in their possession would definitely go a long way in these times when they're dependent upon this failing currency. So let's dive into the very first article. And so briefly, just give you an idea what's going on. It says big note, small change. And it talks about just some of the reasons how they arrived at this process here. In a nationally broadcast appearance, Nicolas Maduro held up a new paper bill while also unveiling a 30% boost to the minimum wage. So, not only did he introduce, this new bill, but he also increased minimum wage by 30%. And then it goes on a little bit more. It says, economists warn that measures such as those Maduro announced Wednesday are likely to drive up inflation rather than bring relief to the oil-rich racked economic problems and deep social tensions. It says at the beginning of 2017, new notes of 500, 5,000, and 20,000 bolivars entered the market, but these have not been enough to meet demand. It says a 20,000 note has a value in U.S. currency of roughly 50 cents. So the prior highest denomination note of $20,000 or 20,000 bolivars is only worth 50 cents as of right now on the black market. And then it says here, Maduro announced a rise in pensions that retirees collect, an increase in the minimum wage for workers, meaning that they will take home the equivalent of $132 a month at the strongest of the two official exchange rates. So by this increase in 30% or so, it only will take them to, on average, the pensioners, $132 a month. And it says Enrique Capriles, a leader of the Venezuela's opposition movement, said on Twitter, with inflation the highest on the planet, he says the official salary announcement is a mockery of the Venezuelan workers. So basically, this increase in 30%, will only get the pensioners as well as minimum wage workers to immediately $100 in the midst of the fact that they're short on supplies of all kind, and on the streets when it actually comes time to purchasing the goods they actually need, they're going to have to spend a lot more money than that $132 will exchange in the form of bolivars for them to use. So definitely not going to be good for them long term. And then the next article here says Venezuela introduces 100 bolivar note. And just some things I want to point out here was it says that President Nicolas Maduro unveiled the note at a cabinet meeting. He says it will be worth about €2 or $2.30 on the black market. Then also I wanted to kind of hint at this video here, which is an hour 20 seconds long, but yet it's quite telling of just some of the recent events from this year that's taking place. And so that's kind of what's happening there in regards to this new note here. And so I actually want to finish off this with just sharing with you, when you type in Venezuela Bolivar, which gives you an idea of, just what the Bolivar has been throughout history, it takes you to a silver coin here. And up until, just like our history here in the United States, up until a certain point, there was a Coinage Act passed, which basically removed silver from their coinage and led them to just base metal coins, as well as the implementation of various forms of paper notes throughout the years. So they've been through every decade or so, there's a new issuing of currency, it seems like. But yeah, just to sort through some of these coins here and get an idea of what the Bolivar has stood for throughout the earlier parts of Venezuelan history, how it's been in the form of silver. And so these silver coins here, in great condition or bad condition, either one, they're still maintaining their purchasing power and have exceeded it in regards to what they were once able to purchase, say, for example, in 36 or 1929, or there's a couple 1945s. And so here's a 2007 Bolivar, which, as you can see here, it's a mixture of all types of base metals, of which it's only $1.59 as of now. And actually the shipping and handling costs more than the actual coin because the intrinsic value is not there. But yet this coin above it from 1945 is worth $6 and some change. So these coins here, which have intrinsic value, these Bolivars here are going to appreciate continuously throughout this whole monetary fiasco in Venezuela. So if people were aware of their monetary history and knew the importance of anchoring their wealth and their purchasing power towards something more stable, they will look to try to find these coins in coin shops if they're available down there or anything. But yet these coins here are just being sold here as, keepsakes / souvenirs here in the US. So it'd be good for those people down there or Venezuelans to take heed of this message of learning their history and then trying to find these coins of some sort or some kind to keep in their possession as the government continues to print, pretty much the country into super hyperinflation. So just wanted to share this information today. I thought it was very telling of where Venezuela is headed because there's no answer in sight. And as always, the idea of printing money never turns out to be good for the people, but it's always a patch on the surface for the government to try to pinpoint the blame somewhere else, other than the fact that this monetary policy and just the government itself is so out of whack that there's no reeling in by adding zeros to a new note. So that's what's happening in the news today. I wanted to share with you what's happening in Venezuela with this new note. I'm sure there's going to be more news coming out next year if they don't completely remove the digits, because one of the articles actually didn't touch on mentioned how the ultimate goal is to remove the 100,000 Bolivar note as well as all their notes so that they can just simply do it digitally to where they don't have to worry about the cost of having to, to print this paper, the ink and all the things that go into it is actually worth more than actual purchasing power of the notes themselves in their economy. So that's what's happening in the news. Want to share it with you. Love to hear your thoughts on what's happening in Venezuela. And also, if you're new to RTD, click the subscribe button for more updates such as this. Look forward to bringing you more news. Enjoy your day.